Today I was on ESPN, watching ESPN, and I was in awe of the NFL draft picks that are going to be on display come NFL draft night. So we are 7 to 8 days away from the NFL draft, and boy, am I excited! I'm excited to see uh, those youngsters, those young guys, just get their name called, rush up to the podium, uh, greet NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, whether it be virtually or not virtually. I just want to see those young guys get the name called, put that hat on, show the world their jersey, show the world what team they're going to in the fall, and just be happy to play football. The game that they love, the game that they've been hoping to play ever since they were a kid. And to do this in the NFL league, in a league right now in the NFL, it's so incredibly lucky for those guys to get their name called, to stand up and shine throughout all their doubters that thought they could never get here. But their family, their friends, their mentors, they were the ones who say, you know what, you can get here if you want to. You can get here. You could become that quarterback, that wide receiver, that running back that no one had thought you would ever become. But in actuality, they lived up to the hype. They lived up to expectations, the expectations of them being immortal and being immortalized in the game, an NFL game today. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. A little bit on my show. We'll talk about a little bit about some NFL legends retiring. I got a lot of NFL news to share with you all today. So it's just been amazing to see that the NFL draft is on its way back. Wow, it seems like just last year we were talking about this, and now April has come back upon us, and now we're talking about the NFL draft again. So without further ado, first up, first story, Alex Smith. So Alex Smith is retiring. Alex Smith's improbable comeback ended up being his final act in football. The 36-year-old quarterback announced his retirement Monday via Instagram. Smith said early this offseason he was interested in pursuing a new opportunity under center once the inevitable, his release from Washington, became a reality, and he could have continued his career if he had wanted to. Multiple teams wanted to sign Smith, NFL Network's Tom Pelissero reported, but Smith instead decided a couple of weeks ago to walk away from the sport on his own terms. The veteran quarterback said Monday on ESPN that he visited the Jacksonville Jaguars this offseason and was so excited about the possibility of playing for his former coach, Urban Meyer, in 2021, but ultimately he decided to retire. Essentially, there was no better way for Smith to go out than on his own terms, having made it back in nearly unthinkable fashion and leading his team to a playoff berth. Smith acknowledged as much in his retirement video, saying, even though I've got plenty of snaps left in me, he's ready to discover what awaits him in his next step in life. And first, beyond football. Football, though, is what drove Smith to battle his arduous recovery, to be able to go on long walks with his wife Elizabeth and to run around with his kids in the backyard. It powered him back to the field in 2020, where he stepped in as Washington's last resort under center, following a benching of Dwayne Haskins and injury to Kyle Allen, to post a 5-1 record as Washington starter and help solidify the position, even if only it was temporary. Was Smith around to do enough to keep Washington competitive? The football team went on a run to finish 7-9 and win the league's worst division. While Smith won the 2020 AP Comeback Player of the Year award, though it be unable to participate in Washington's postseason loss to the eventual Super Bowl champion, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he'd already accomplished more than enough to earn the universal respect of the football world. It will be a fitting final act to a career that has seen about as many high and low points as possible. So Smith entered the NFL as the number 1 overall pick of the rebuilding San Francisco 49ers, who were desperate to find an answer under center for years after Steve Young's retirement. They landed on the Utah playmaker who had shined in Meyer's spread attack, leading the Utes to a perfect 12-0 record in the victory in the 2005 Fiesta Bowl. Smith had the weight of the world on his shoulders and struggled to live up to the hype, but not before Jim Harbaugh arrived and turned things around, helping Smith prove his worthiness at the professional level, helping the 49ers to a 13-3 mark in the division title in 2011. In that postseason, Smith authored a signature moment leading to an 85-yard touchdown drive and 1 minute 28 seconds capped by a bullet fired into the chest of Vernon Davis for the game-winning touchdown versus the Saints. 2 years later, he's been replaced by electrifying dual threat star Colin Kaepernick and skipped to Kansas City for a fresh start under now head coach Andy Reid. Smith reached his peak with the Chiefs, earning 3 Pro Bowl trips and posting a 50-26 mark as a starter and helping Kansas City make the playoffs in 4 out of the 5 seasons. He also set the table for the Chiefs' own new heights, helping mentor first-round pick and future NFL and Super Bowl MVP Patrick Mahomes in his final season at Kansas City before heading off to Washington. Sadly, Smith's career in Washington never got off to the ground due to his leg injury, but in all, Smith showed that he had the fortitude and the perseverance to prove the doubters wrong and carve out a 16-year career that is undoubtedly worth remembering. He finishes with a career record of 99, 67, and 1, and a passer rating of 86.9, and a touchdown-interception ratio of 199 to 109. His 99 wins are the 5th most of any quarterback selected number 1 overall in the common draft era, trailing only Peyton Manning, John Elway, Eli Manning, and Terry Bradshaw. Smith also joined Brett Favre as the only quarterback since 1950 to start on the 3 or more teams and have a winning record with each one, proving that while he was never quite a superstar at the position, he was a winner. He can now smile and reflect on the good times while enjoying a long walk with his wife and kids. My friend Alex Smith, I will miss you. Happy retirement, happy journey, happy life with your kids and wife. Listen, Alex Smith is a comeback story for the young kids, for the older generation to hear, because this man had 18 knee surgeries. He could have lost his life. He battled several setbacks to get back to the game of football that he loved and that he admires for so long. First draft pick in 2005 out of Utah State. And to battle 18 knee surgeries the way this guy has done, it's remarkable. It's encouraging. Dak Prescott is doing the same thing. He had an injury when he got injured with the Cowboys last year. Look at what he's doing. He's making his way back. He's providing. The youth today have to look at these veterans, because if they could come back from serious knee injuries and if they can still play, they might not have the same height that they had before they had the injury, but they can still come back and they can still play once they get through rehab and medication and injuries. They can still come back and they can still play and do the things that they love, whether it's throwing the pigskin, whether it's picking their kids up, whether it's running around in the backyard with them. Now, Alex Smith, he could still be able to do all that, but his running, he couldn't run that well with Washington last year. And that kind of prevented Washington from having that 7.5 season. I believe Washington could have won more games than that had Kyle Allen not got hurt, because Kyle Allen was in a Ron Rivera system in Carolina. Dwayne Haskins, he was just messed up. Washington had to let Dwayne Haskins go, as well they should have. Now Dwayne Haskins is with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he's backing up Big Ben Roethlisberger. I wish Big Ben good luck, because he's going to need it working with a guy named Dwayne Haskins. That's all I'm going to say. And Dwayne Haskins, he knows that he messed up in Washington. He knows he wasn't the greatest quarterback. We went 3-13 with Dwayne Haskins. I think we only won one game with Case Keenum, but all the rest of them, we were with Dwayne Haskins, and he really didn't prove to be a great quarterback. We only won 2 more games with him on the center. We beat the Lions and we beat the Panthers, and we lost all the rest of the games in 19-20. So Dwayne Haskins, great fresh start in Pittsburgh. So now we have Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's going to be our quarterback. So Ryan Fitzpatrick, we got to teach Ryan Fitzpatrick our moves, our motives. We got to teach him all of that. And I know Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's a veteran of the game. He's like he's a veteran of the game. But Ryan Fitzpatrick, every team that a veteran goes to has to learn from different structures of the game. They got to learn the game plan all over again. So hopefully Ryan Fitzpatrick can do that. We can get him straightened out, and he'll be ready for the start of the season. So moving on. So Patrick Mahomes' 2020 season ended in disappointing fashion, but there's plenty of reason to be excited for 2021. For one, he's ahead of schedule in rehabbing his toe injury. He told reporters Monday, and that toe injury just might make him even better than before. The thought of Mahomes being an even better version of himself is frankly frightening to consider, especially the one contemplation such a reality has to find a way to stop him. Then again, Tampa Bay sure did shut the high-powered Chiefs down in the Super Bowl. So the blueprint exists. That blueprint might also require Kansas City to be without its starting tackles in the Chiefs' most important game of the year. A scenario that is more likely than not. Mahomes, though, is already a stellar, almost otherworldly talent who is good for a viral internet clip every other week. Refining the small details might be the best way to take him to the next step forward. Unseen reaches of quarterbacking potential, progress that might just make him able to overcome adverse situations like the one he faced in the Super Bowl. In order to make it back to such a scenario, Mahomes will first have to be healthy. He said on Monday he's out of his boot and headed toward some on-field work before training camp begins. For now, it's just off-season chatter where hope runs an infinite supply. It could be easily assessed by all. Optimism is no fountain of youth, but it's just about the next best thing for those finding their dreams on the upcoming season. For Mahomes, that new season offers his next opportunity to achieve greatness. With a healthy toe and better footwork, we can only imagine where he might be headed. So yeah, Patrick Mahomes. Case in point, Patrick Mahomes was injured in the Super Bowl. He struggled. He struggled to throw. He struggled to run. He struggled to even slide. That's because Tampa Bay knew the Chiefs' game plan. Back when Tom Brady was with New England and Mahomes was with the Chiefs beat the Patriots in that one playoff game, that one shining moment where the Patriots could have went to the Super Bowl, but it was the Chiefs and it was the Chiefs and the 49ers. So you fast forward to when Patrick Mahomes was a rookie and how Alex Smith showed him the ropes before Alex Smith eventually came to Washington. Pat Mahomes was already equipped with the knowledge and the strength and the motivation from Alex Smith that Alex Smith gave him before Alex Smith went to Washington. He was already equipped with the knowledge. He was already equipped with the game plan. He was already equipped with the playbook that Andy Reid was coaching through Alex Smith to give to Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes has always been a great quarterback, but Pat Mahomes got shut down in the Super Bowl. And as what would have it, Tom Brady shined, and the Buccaneers won their first Super Bowl title since the year 2002, I think it was, when the Buccaneers beat the Raiders. That coach then was John Gruden. Their coach now is, well, you guessed it. So you got to find a way to really find out that when Pat Mahomes' injury is as bad as it ever was, and for Pat Mahomes to get some knee injuries and knee surgeries, you got to think that, it was really hurting him to run in the Super Bowl. But like I said, Patrick Mahomes has been great for a long time. When Patrick Mahomes was a rookie in KC, Alex Smith was already teaching him the ropes. He was saying, hey, look here, young fella, I might be gone by the time you set your feet out here on the football field. I might be gone, so I want to mentor you as much as I can and give you the tools to succeed when I'm not around, when I'm on another team, and when I'm playing against you in the season. I'm trying to equip you with all the knowledge that you can to be a successful quarterback. And that's what Alex Smith did. And for that, Pat Mahomes will forever be grateful to Alex Smith for that. And Pat Mahomes, Super Bowl MVP, when they beat the 49ers in 2020. He was already equipped with the skills to succeed. So congratulations, Patrick Mahomes, man. I wish you a speedy recovery, and I wish you the best in the season in the fall. So moving on here. So with the Orlando Browns situation hanging overhead, the Baltimore Ravens are taking a look at a free agent offensive tackle. NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport reported Monday that former Steelers tackle Alejandro Villanueva is set to visit Baltimore this week, per a source informed of the situation. The former Army Ranger signed in Pittsburgh in 2014 after being cut by the Eagles. After spending a year on the practice squad, Villanueva became the Steelers' starting left tackle in 2015. He patrolled the left side of Pittsburgh's line and has started every game for the past 5 years before hitting free agency this offseason. The Ravens are in the market for potential veteran help at tackle, with Brown requesting a trade. After replacing an injury Ronnie Stanley at left tackle last year, Brown wants to be a full-time left tackle, not shift back to the right side where he manned during his first 2 seasons. Any trade for Brown will likely come before or during the draft. Given that the Ravens are always conscious about the compensatory pick process, it'd be surprising if they signed a veteran like Villanueva before the draft. Adding Villanueva, if that's how it plays out, will be an interesting fit for Baltimore. The 32-year-old is a much better pass blocker than a run blocker, struggling for much of his career in the run game. Given the Ravens' offense is predicted around the ground attack, the fit could be questioned. It would, however, give the Ravens a veteran replacement if the Brown trade goes down. So this trade here, Alejandro Villanueva, he was an Army Ranger, and this guy trained in the Army. He was trained for football activities. He was trained to be an NFL linebacker. He got cut by Philly, so the Steelers picked him up. And I remember this guy. Wow, this guy's all meat, man, all muscle, all bones, man. Alejandro Villanueva, man, that is a big guy. Like he's standing at what, 7'8", 10 inches, 230 pounds. Guy bear hugs you, tackles you. You're gonna feel it, man. You're gonna feel what he. Listen, this guy was an Army Ranger. This guy was in the Army. This guy bulked up every single day. I'm pretty sure the Army did a lot of physical activities to get those guys that were slim, that were really, that were bony, and they muscled them up. And then they packed on the pounds in the Army, and they packed on some muscle. And hey, so Villanueva, if he signs with the Ravens, I'm pretty sure the Ravens are gonna have a great linebacker if he does in fact sign with the Ravens. But if he doesn't, well, he'll find a new home. Case in point, I think the Ravens are still trying to sign Antonio Brown from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and it would be great to have Lamar Jackson have another weapon besides Hollywood Brown, Marquise Brown, to have in that wide receiver core. So you got to understand, Mark Andrews is tight end. So the Ravens are trying to, bulk up. And Ronnie Stanley, the injury that he suffered in the playoffs last year, in January, it's remarkable how, he might try to come back and play left tackle. He wants to play left tackle. He said he doesn't want to go back to any other position but left tackle. So it's a great endeavor that if he does shift back to left tackle, it'll be great. It'll be a great fit for him, and it'll be a great compensatory pick for him, and it'll be great for him to see him play at the left tackle position that he's played for years in Baltimore. It'll be great to see him do that. So I would like that as well. So moving on. So new Carolina Panthers quarterback Sam Darnold. Yes, the Carolina Panthers' new quarterback is Sam Darnold. So Sam Darnold is wasting little time building chemistry with his top weapon. Darnold worked out with all-pro running back Christian McCaffrey last week in California. Peter King of NBC Sports spoke with Darnold's quarterback coach, Jordan Palmer, who said the duo is already making progress together. McCaffrey played just 3 games in 2020 due to an array of injuries. Not only will CMC's running ability be beneficial for Darnold, who never had a consistent running attack in New York, but the NFL's premier pass-catching back should become the quarterback's best friend in a tight spot as a check down, who can make lemonade out of lemons. The Panthers traded for Darnold, believing that they can better buffer the former number 3 overall pick. McCaffrey is a huge part of that equation. The duo working out early in the process isn't groundbreaking or surprising. However, it is a good start to the offseason for Darnold, who needs to prove he could be the future in Carolina. Otherwise, the Panthers will be back at the drawing board a year from now. That's true. Sam Darnold has to prove that he could be a great quarterback. Now, I don't know what's happening with Teddy Bridgewater. Maybe he could back up Teddy Bridgewater at Carolina. But Sam Darnold has got to work. He's got to put that work in. Because I'm telling you, if he doesn't, and if he plays like he did in New York with the Jets, man, he's not going to have a decent play. He's not going to even see the field next season. So he's got to work out in practice with Teddy Bridgewater. They gotta get this guy worked out. Because when he was with the Jets, people were leaving him left and right. Like Le'Veon Bell left. You see where Le'Veon Bell wound up. Le'Veon Bell went to the Chiefs. You see, Jamal Adams. Jamal Adams went to the Seahawks. All those guys. Robbie Anderson went to Carolina. Robbie Anderson was his wide receiver. Robbie Anderson was his wide receiver with New York Jets. Robbie Anderson is now with Carolina Panthers, same as Sam Darnold. So they will be reunited. Robbie Anderson and Sam Darnold will be reunited. And if Christian McCaffrey can play at a league level next season, and he could be that top elite running back that Christian McCaffrey was when he first came into the league, Sam Darnold is going to have no problem fitting the ball to CMC, Christian McCaffrey. Let me tell you, man, this guy's explosive. He do explosive things. He's with the new team now, so I don't want to see any of that stuff that he did with the Jets. I don't want to see old habits form. New habits is going to form with him in Carolina, and I'm pretty sure that it will happen for him in Carolina. Then work out with him with the Jets. And I'm pretty sure it's going to work out with him and Coach LaFleur in Carolina. So we'll just have to wait and see what's going to happen with that. Moving on here. So 2 months after it was reported that Tom Brady was set for minor knee surgery, the Buccaneers quarterback says things are on the up and up. The 43-year-old signal caller provided an update on himself Sunday while attending Coach Bruce Arians' Family Foundation Gala. Brady's response should be encouraging to anyone with a rooting interest in Tampa Bay's immediate future. Brady added, it's good. It's good progress. It's rehab. None of that is fun. But looking forward to getting back to road training and stuff, which is hopefully here pretty soon. I'm cool with it. It's just part of what you deal with. Things come up, you deal with them the best way you can, with the best opportunity to improve. I'm definitely feeling a lot better than I did 6 or 7 weeks ago. News of Brady's procedure, which Arians classified in February as a cleanup, preceded the club's decision to sign the future Hall of Famer to a 1-year extension. The deal was one of several Bucs brass made this offseason to ensure all 22 of last season's starters remain with the club for the foreseeable future. Every marquee member of the Bucs Super Bowl winning roster has made it clear they want to run it back in 2021. To think Brady wouldn't be the one again leading the charge, even after surgery, will be an oversight for the highest degree. Hey, this is Tom Brady. This is the man. This is the future. This is the mayhem. This is the legend, Tom Brady. And if you don't think Tom Brady is going to be ready for training camp in the fall, count your lucky stars, people. Because Tom Brady is going to be ready. He's going to be reffed up. He's going to be ready. And he's going to be ready to go to take his rightfully place back to the promised land. He's ready to take the Buccaneers back to the promised land of that Super Bowl. Now, that Super Bowl year, it wasn't really transformable. It wasn't transformational. Tom Brady, he worked long hours when he got to Tampa Bay. If you think Tom Brady worked long hours in New England, boy, buddy boys, Tom Brady was working. He was working at Tampa Bay. He was getting his feet wet, getting his feet set, getting his feet ready for the next chapter, his next team that he would ever play for. Who would have thought it would have been Coach Bruce Arians he would have played for? But it worked out, and it worked really good for him. And, hey, you know what? I hate to say it. I'm happy for Tom Brady, 7 rings, and people thought that Tom Brady was washed up. People thought Tom Brady's not going to win a ring with the Buccaneers. People thought the Buccaneers were still a young team. Don't let their youngness fool you now. Tom Brady had to work with Mike Evans, with Chris Godwin, with Scotty Miller, Cameron Brake. He had to work with all those guys on that Tampa Bay offense. And see, he got the work done. That's what happens when you put work in. You put work in and you get things done, whether it be on the field, the court, everything. Hey, some results are going to start happening for you. And that's what Tom Brady's going to do. Tom Brady, he's going to get that surgery. He's already gotten it. He'll be back in the fall. Tom Brady is Superman, baby. Superman Tom Brady. So moving on here. So a few roster moves are made without a corresponding action. So Brown fans learned that lesson Friday, 2 days after signing edge rusher Jadeveon Clowney. The Browns released defensive tackle Sheldon Richardson. The team announced the move Friday afternoon. Richardson arrived in Cleveland in 2019 as part of former general manager John Dorsey's spending spree and instantly filled a need for the Browns on the interior. The former first-round pick of the Jets chose Cleveland to establish a home after becoming somewhat of a football nomad in recent years. And he certainly followed through when it came to availability and productivity. Richardson appeared in all 32 regular season games in 2 seasons with the Browns, recording 78 tackles, 9 for a loss, 7.5 sacks, 7 passes defense, and 4 forced fumbles. A mysterious personality in the locker room who backs it up on the field. The 30-year-old Richardson was reliably effective and earned his compensation. But as is often the case in the offseason, that premium became a bit too rich for the Browns after signing Clowney. Cutting Richardson saves the Browns $11 million in cap space per over the cap, helping create some breathing room for the Browns after they signed Clowney to a one-year deal that could pay him up to $10 million, but includes 4 void years to spread his cap number between 2021 and 2022. Because of those void years, Clowney's cap number for 2021 is just $3.87 million, less than a third of Richardson's cap number of $12.6 million. With this considered, releasing Richardson wasn't entirely necessary. Cleveland still could have carried his contract and remained under the cap at a fairly comfortable margin. But there's an advantage to be had with existing cap space when looking ahead. The Browns are approaching future of off seasons, in which they'll need to find cap space to re-sign Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb, and Denzel Ward. Carrying a healthy amount of cap space to the end of 2021 will produce a useful rollover number into 2022, when the cap is expected to jump significantly at just the right time for the Browns to spend in order to keep their own. There's also the valuable playing time to be gained by 2020. Third rounder Jordan Elliott, who flashed in a few opportunities he had while entrenched behind Richardson, and Larry Ogunjobi, who left for Cincinnati in March. With the release of Richardson, Cleveland rolled out a new defensive interior featuring free agent addition Malik Jackson and Elliott, and stands to add more talent at the position in the draft. So yeah, Cleveland lost a couple of pieces, but they gained Jadeveon Clowney, former Texan linebacker, former Titan linebacker, former Seattle Seahawks linebacker. So the Browns are truly adding some pieces around them to succeed. Now, whether the Browns, win the majority of their games again next year, I think the Browns went 12-4, 11-4, 10-4. I think they went 10-4. The Browns beating the Steelers in the first round of the playoffs to get to that second round and automatically lose to the Chiefs. Remember, the Browns had concussed Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes left that game back in January because of a concussion, because that Browns defense was banging good. The Chiefs couldn't stop anybody. Had it not been for that third down stop of Baker Mayfield, the Browns would have won that game and eventually went on to the AFC Championship game to play the Buffalo Bills. And who knows, maybe the Browns would have went to the Super Bowl. But the Browns played extremely good football last year. I got to give it to Baker Mayfield and that team. That team was winning. Freddie Kitchens, he didn't stand a chance. But Coach Stefanski, hey, he had that team winning. Freddie Kitchens couldn't do anything the year before. But Kevin Stefanski, man, he had that team winning. He had that team practicing, running drills. He had that team winning more games. And when they won more games, they could have missed the playoffs because they had to beat the Steelers to get into the playoffs because, another team was riding their tail. But all three teams in that AFC North went to the playoffs except for the Bengals. So, got to take advantage of your opportunities when you get them. Your opportunities have been expendable. The Browns' opportunities have been expendable this whole year. And personally, hey, I got to give it to Cleveland. They did something that nobody thought was possible. They beat the Steelers in the first round, and nobody thought that was possible. I didn't even think that was possible. When they went up that scoreboard that Sunday, I was looking at it, I was like, jeez, Baker Mayfield is not playing, man. Really, he's not playing. So, Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie was out of football in 2020. He hasn't played more than 2 games since 2018, and yet he's not ready to hang up his cleats. 35-year-old Rodgers-Cromartie hasn't given up on the idea of playing, NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport reported. Though he's been linked to a coaching job at his alma mater, Tennessee State, under former NFL running back coach Eddie George. Rodgers-Cromartie has post-draft workout scheduled and would only transition to coaching if he wasn't presented with an opportunity to keep playing, per Rappaport. Rodgers-Cromartie has played for 6 NFL teams during his career, which began as a first-round pick of the Cardinals in 2008. He didn't play last season and only appeared in 9 games between 2018 and 2019 with the Raiders and Washington. recording 15 tackles and 2 passes defense in that span. At his peak, Rogers Carmody was a top-notch corner, earning a Pro Bowl bid in his age 29 season of 2015. With the Giants, he was dependable for most of his career, appearing in 15 or more games and all but one season between 2008 and 2017. As often is the case with time, though, Rogers Carmody became less of a contributor once he passed 30 years old. Failing to record an interception after the 2016 season, should a comeback-needy team be interested, perhaps Rogers Carmody will earn himself a training camp invite. If not, a headset likely awaits him at the college level. So yeah, Dominique Rogers Carmody, he's another player that I thought, would never come back to football. But he's looking at a comeback in a couple of years. He's searching for that comeback. And hey, if he gets that comeback, if he gets to come back to football, hey, good for him. But if he can't come back to football, well, he can get into the coaching industry. He can get into the coaching scene. There's other jobs available for him to get into if, coming back to play football isn't in the cards for him. But I really think he's going to be good at coaching. Whether he comes back and plays for a team that needs that veteran presence and that veteran leadership in that locker room, or whether that team needs that veterancy, that pumpness, Dominique Rogers Carmody, he can give it to a team. The Giants and Washington and the Raiders, hey, they know firsthand. New York, Washington, and Oakland, they know firsthand what Dominique Rogers Carmody brings to their team. So if he wants to come back and play football, let him come back and play football. I mean, he's only 35 years old. Hey, Tom Brady's still playing, right? Drew Brees played till he was 39. Phil Rivers played until he was almost 42, 41. Brett Favre was still playing until he was almost 50. So, these players that say, hey, you're too old, man. You're never too old to come back and play football. If you're still in your 30s or your late 30s, you're never too old to come back and play football. You're never too late. You're just never too late. So moving on here. So the expected is now reality in Atlanta, the new home of Cordell Patterson. Football's best return man is officially a Falcon, signing a one-year deal with Atlanta. The team announced on Thursday. NFL Network's Mike Garafolo reported the contract is worth $3 million per source informed of the situation. Patterson's signing followed a Wednesday visit with the team, which evidently convinced him to move to Georgia following 2 seasons spent in Chicago. Atlanta will be Patterson's 5th NFL home in 9 seasons, bringing with him a premier pedigree in the return game built upon 8 career kick return touchdowns and coming off 2 straight Pro Bowl appearances. The first-time All-Pro return man isn't just a returning ace, of course. Patterson has plenty of experience as a receiver, running back, and as a focus of gadget-style plays too, bringing an element of unpredictability to the Falcons' offense whenever new coach Arthur Smith sees fit. If nothing else, Patterson will be a threat to opponents when it comes to kickoff. He's already an instant upgrade too. As our own Kevin Petra wrote Wednesday, Atlanta hasn't had a kick return finish with more than 700 yards since Andre Roberts in 2017. Patterson has led the league in kick return yards in each of his last 2 seasons, racking up 1,842 and 2 TDs. He's also scored a kick return touchdown in each of his last 3 seasons. Take that, Father Time. After turning 30 in March, his birthday is on St. Patrick's Day. We'll see if Patterson can bring some luck to Atlanta in 2021. So yeah, Cordell Patterson, punt returner, played with the Bears, the Vikings. Yeah, well, he's a punt returner / wide receiver. He could play out of the backfield sometimes too. He could play receiver for you. He won number 84 for the Bears last year, and I think he won number 84 for the Vikings. So Cordell Patterson, another case in point. People thought he was washed up. People thought, he's nothing. And he just signed a one-year deal with the Falcons. I mean, and of course, anybody that goes to Atlanta, Julio Jones, Matt Ryan, Roddy White, those guys, they've probably seen the majority of the punt returners go. Devin Hester played a year in Atlanta, former punt returner for the Bears. He's run down punts before. Cordell Patterson has run down a lot of punts in his career. So we'll see what happens with Cordell Patterson. I believe he's going to flourish and Atlanta. The Atlanta Falcons haven't been good for like 2 years. So I don't see the Falcons being a playoff team next year. I could be wrong, but I really don't see it. I really don't. So moving on. So Dallas Cowboys receiver CeeDee Lamb blasted out of the gate his rookie season, generating 433 yards in his first 5 games, including 2 100-plus yard contests. For a player that fell into the Cowboys' lap in the draft, that starts justified the selection. As with all rookies, there were bumps along the way, including a goose egg in Week 7 and no 100-yard contest down the stretch. Still, Lamb's 74 catches for 935 yards and 5 touchdowns represent an excellent start to a young career. Lamb believes he can take it to another level in 2021. Lamb's downtimes during his rookie campaign came with backup quarterbacks. With Dak Prescott going down in Week 5, Andy Dalton missing games to an injury, and 4 quarterbacks playing throughout the season, there was no stability for the young wideout. Tossing the plethora of injuries to the offensive line, and the Dallas offense never found even footing last season. With Prescott returning on a massive new contract and all the weaponry back from Lamb to Amari Cooper to Michael Gallup to Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard to Blake Jarwin, the Cowboys are loaded to bounce back if everyone can stay healthy. Injuries also wrecked the Cowboys' offensive line after years of stability. Securing Prescott's blocking and depth along the line is the main offensive question for Dallas heading towards the 2021 draft. The defense, on the other hand, still has many holes to fill. So yeah, CeeDee Lamb, case in point, CeeDee Lamb came in as, a rookie, last year. And hey, he still plays like one. I mean, the Cowboys drafted him last year in the NFL draft. So his numbers went down throughout the season last year. As all rookies in their first season get, their numbers go down. But the thing you have to do is you got to keep pressing forward. You got to keep those numbers up. You got to keep marching. You got to keep believing that your numbers can go up. And your touchdown to interception ratio, you might have lost some balls. When you caught them in the air, you might have fumbled a little bit. That's all right. Fumbling is part of the game. The main thing is that you work on it. You work on your catches. You work on not being a butterfinger. You work on not having those drops in the end zone, not having those costly drops. Because in a 1-point game, with 58 seconds or 10 seconds left in the game, you got to be ready to catch that ball. Hold it in your chest. Even if you got to grab it and hold it in your chest, secure that ball. Here's the point. Lions-Bears. Last season, Week 1, Bears had a chance to win the game. Dropped it. Kid dropped it right in the end zone. Kid dropped it, man. I don't know who it was, but he just dropped it. He just butterfingers all day. Just dropped it. He couldn't even grip the ball good enough, and that's the reason why he dropped it. Had he gripped the ball a little better, he probably would have caught that ball. So, Bryce Love's relief by Washington serves as cautionary tale for NFL prospects on the fence. The Washington football team drafted running back Bryce Love in 2019, spending a 4th-round pick on the Stanford running back, who suffered a torn ACL in his final college game. On Monday, Washington waived Love after he failed to log an NFL carry in 2 seasons. The hope in Washington was that Love could spend a year recovering from the devastating injury and contribute by his 2nd season. But he didn't play a single snap in 2020, and a Ron Rivera region that didn't draft Love cut ties with him on Monday. A cautionary tale, the transaction marks a disappointing juncture for the Stanford standout, who finished 2nd in Heisman Trophy voting and won the Doak Walker Award as college football's top running back in 2017 as a junior. At 23 years old, Love now faces the decision of trying to latch on with another franchise or giving up on his dreams. Either way, his story stands as a cautionary tale for NFL prospects on the fence about declaring early for the draft or considering sitting out games at the end of their college careers. So why Love returned to Stanford with his draft stock at its peak? Well, Love was rated as one of the top NFL running back prospects ahead of the 2018 draft following his junior campaign. He tallied 2,118 rushing yards and 19 touchdowns in 2017 on a whopping 8.1 yards per carry, vaulting him to the Pac-12 and National Awards list. Instead of declaring for the draft, Love returned for his senior season with his eyes on Stanford glory and back-to-back 2,000-yard campaigns. Great expectations come up painfully short. So playing behind an injured and inferior offensive line, Love's production plummeted to 739 rushing yards on 4.5 carries per yard per carry as a senior. On his final college carry in Stanford's regular season finale against California, Love tore his right ACL. Stanford did not compete for a national championship or a conference title. Its 9-4 finish was good for third place in the Pac-12. Love's draft stock obviously took a hit, but Washington saw enough promise in that junior season to overlook the ACL injury once Love fell to the fourth round. That confidence unceremoniously expired on Monday. So the bright side for Love. So this significant silver lining for Love if he does decide to call it quits on football. His backup plan is arguably better than the original. The upside of Love returning for his senior season was securing a human biology degree from a world-class university. As he wrote in that New and Observer essay, he has big plans for putting it to use. Plenty would argue that Love getting a jump start on medical school at 23 is a superior option to continuing to put his body and brain to the football ringer for a not yet realized professional football career. Love has not announced his plans, but most NFL prospects facing life decisions over college football games don't have the prospect of a career in medicine in their back pocket. Love's story stands as a reminder of the downside the next time a fan base blasts a player for skipping a ball game or declaring early for the NFL draft. So, yeah, I mean, Bryce Love, he never played a snap for Washington football team. He never played a carry, never played a down. But I'm going to tell you, Bryce Love, don't let him fool you. He was a road runner in college. He was a speedster, man. That speedster took him to the NFL, the bright lights of the NFL. Obviously, his NFL career didn't go as planned. I'm just hoping that an NFL franchise can pick him up because when he's healthy, Bryce Love can do extremely, extremely good things for your franchise as a running back. You see how Adrian Peterson came into Washington. Well, we had a 3-13. He gave a 7-9, 3-13 season, but Adrian Peterson was still breaking records with us. I remember that night against the Vikings when we lost to the Vikings. He broke the record against his former team. So if Bryce Love can do that, and he still got his legs in front of him, he can still charge and still run. Man, Bryce Love can do some great things for a franchise and a team. Believe me. So finishing up my show today, I'm going to talk about Deshaun Watson. So the attorney for Houston Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson issued a response Monday in Harris County, Texas, District Court to 22 lawsuits filed against Watson, denying allegations and claims made against him and requesting a trial by jury. The filing by Houston area lawyer Rusty Hardin comes after two judges ruled earlier this month that the woman suing Watson must replead and identify themselves. The woman previously had filed complaints against Watson anonymously as Jane Doe's. A total of 23 women have filed civil suits alleging sexual assault and misconduct against Watson, with one dropping their suit last week. Lawyer Tony Busby, who represents all 22 women with lawsuits against Watson, issued the following statement in response to Monday's filing. The Houston Police Department announced in the statement April 2nd it had opened an investigation following a complaint being issued against Watson. Texans General Manager Nick Castro told reporters last Friday the team will respect the legal process as it relates to Watson, and their focus remains on the upcoming off-season workout program and the 2021 NFL Draft. The NFL is currently investigating the allegations against Watson. Wow. Deshaun Watson, man, he's in deep trouble. I'm not sure, how many of these ladies were actually telling the truth or actually lying. Deshaun Watson, I've never seen him do any bad thing, illegal thing off the field. Stand-up guy, stand-up player. But to have all 23 women come out and say that he did this, I don't think that he would do this. I don't think that he would do these actions that these women are really telling him that he did. So, we'll have to see what's going to happen with this case. And if this case is up for grabs, we'll have to see what's going to happen with this. So in my show today, I want to talk about a retirement in the MLB baseball. So the Yankees veteran Jay Bruce announced his retirement from baseball on Sunday. On Sunday, Bruce told Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic that he was stepping away from the game after 14 seasons. Bruce, 34, released the following statement. Originally a first-round draft pick out of Westbrook High School, Texas, in 2005, Bruce went on to rack up 1,455 hits, 319 home runs, and 212 doubles. Bruce also hit back-to-back top 10 finishes in the NL MVP balloting, while with Cincinnati in 2012 and 2013. For his career, Bruce put up a slash line of 2.44-3.14-4.67, 108 OPS plus, and ultimate WAR of 20. One of his most memorable moments was a walk-off home run to clinch the NL Central for the Reds in 2010. Bruce had a minor league deal with the New York Yankees this offseason. He will officially retire following Sunday's game against the Rays, in which Bruce will be out of the lineup but available off the bench. Bruce hit 118 with 1 home run and 34 at-bats with the Yankees this season. Three-time All-Star and 2-time Silver Slugger, been part of 14 seasons in the majors with the Reds, 2008-16, Mets 16-17, 18, Cleveland 17, Mariners 19, Phillies 19-20, and Yankees 2021. Jay Bruce, congratulations on your retirement, buddy, and on a great MLB career as well. Well, that's my show. That's my show today. I'm glad you all were able to listen or hear me, for those of you who were listening. But as always, you've been listening to Sports Talk Live here on the world famous E-Radio WMCR. I'm your host, as always, Brandon Buckner, signing off.